Introduction. The definition of statistic. Statistic is a branch of mathematics used to summarize, analyze, and interpret a group of numbers of observations. The practice or science of collecting and analyzing numerical data in large quantities, especially for the purpose of inferring proportions in a whole from those in a representative sample. Descriptive statistic, used to summarize, organize, and make sense of a set score or observations, typically presented graphically in tables or singles values. Inferential statistic, use that allow researchers to infer or generalize observation made with sample to the larger population from which they were selected. It also helped the researcher infer how well statistics in a sample reflect parameters in a population. The objective is to identify the type of data and the type of variable that need to use, to find the secondary data and explain the value by using the appropriate table. And lastly, to calculate and interpret the measure of central tendency, variation, and position for the secondary data set. Data arrangement. First, decide on the number of classes. A useful recipe to determine the number of classes k is the 2 to the k rule, such that 2 square root k greater than n. There were 30 locations of MRSM, so n equal to 30. If we try k equal to 4, which means we should use 4 classes, then 2 square root 4 equal to 16. Somewhat less than 30. Hence, 4 is not enough classes. If we let k equal to 5, 2 square root 5 equal to 32, which is greater than 30. So the recommended number of classes is 5. Here is how we determine the classes interval or wide. So the classes wide for this table is 35. Set the individual class limits. The minimum data entry is a convenient lower limit for the first class. To find the lower limits of the remaining 5 classes, add the class wide of 35 to the lower limits of each previous class. The upper limits of the other classes are 105 plus 35 equal to 140, 140 plus 35 equal to 175, and so on. Here is the table of the number of tally mark for a classes is the frequency for that class. Relative frequency. To find the relative frequency of class, divide the frequency f by the sample size n. Cumulative relative frequency. The cumulative frequency of a class is the sum of the frequency for that class and all previous classes. So, cumulative frequency of the last class equal to the sample size n.
Measure of central tendency consists of mean, median, class median, and mode. Mean was 146.5166. Median was 144.84. Class median was 105 to 139. Mode was 145.87. Measure of variation consists of range, variance, standard deviation. Range was 175. Variance was 1057.5860. Standard deviation was 32.52055. Graphical method. We have used 2 types of graph in this assignment. That was histogram and ogive graph. Shape of data distribution consists of mean, median, and mode. Mean was 146.5166. Median was 144.8400. Mode was 145.84. 8700. Mean is bigger than median. Median is lower than mode. Result SESS for measure of central tendency and measure of variance. Conclusion. We can develop necessary skill and clearly understand to apply appropriate concept solving statistic problem. Besides, it is also help to analyze the data that we find and solve the problem. Through this assignment, we can learn how to use a proper formula to solve the problem with knowledge of statistics.